which specific neighborhoods are doing better or worse than the overall GTA real estate market? Hi everyone, Ian here. So last video we talked about how the entire GTA market is doing, and this video we want to talk about how does each specific neighborhood perform comparing to the overall market, so you can understand, if your specific neighborhood or the area you're interested in, how do you strategize your sale or purchase. So on the screen you can see that this is the overall GTA real estate market, right? We saw that sales comparing to last month has went up a little bit, and so October sales at 6,100 is a little bit more than September. Okay, so let's take a look at which areas are actually having a bit more sales and which areas are having less sales than last month. Okay, on the screen you can see that this is the month-over-month comparison between October and September sales volume, okay, for condos. And you can see that, interestingly, October, Midtown Toronto had the most number of increase, well, percentage-wise, the highest increase of sales, transactions that were successful, okay? Interesting. So October, people are actually coming back to Toronto and buying Midtown more so than September. And comparing to other places like Scarborough also had a big increase. So these are the areas that do have a lot of end users who actually they either want to live in Scarborough for the low price per square feet, or they want to live in Midtown to be closer to downtown for their, I guess, work arrangements or better schools. You can see downtown also had an increase, and downtown is a huge market, so having an increase of 7.2% month over month on sales is actually a big deal, right? And Mississauga had more sales, so these are the areas that actually had more liquidity. And you may say, okay, these areas may also have a lot more sellers. That's true, and we'll take a look at that later, but the important thing is when there's more sales, then there's more liquidity. So there's higher chance for you to be able to successfully sell your unit as long as your unit is prepared correctly and your product is attractive and you're priced right. Then as long as you price within the right range, likely you're going to be able to get offers because there's more transactions going on. That means there's more interest and more demand for your area. You just have to price correctly. If you are in the area that's very low liquidity, that means low sales means that there's less interest. That means you will have to price your unit much below the even market price to attract attention, because low liquidity means it's not as sensitive to pricing. You have to drop your price even more to attract attention, right? So harder to sell. For example, condos in Markham, Vaughan, Richmond Hill, Oakville, these are all like the most popular, I guess, like as Asians or Chinese, we like these areas, right? And unfortunately, their condos this month has performed, the least amount of increase in terms of sales, right? So people are just not going here to buy condos. In Richmond Hill is even 23% down from last month. But also, if we take a look at it from year-over-year perspective, comparing to last October, in terms of sales volume change, we can see that comparing to last year, we're actually having a better year for Midtown as well. So Midtown is definitely, something right is going on there, right? People are just actually buying Midtown condos, maybe because their detached is still so expensive and condos remains the only viable option. Now condos prices come down a lot, maybe there's better value there. Oakville is actually doing better than last year in terms of sales. So that's good. Month over month is down, but year over year is higher. So it's still, probably doing okay. Actually, Oakville month over month is a little bit up, but just not up a lot. Year over year is actually doing better. So Oakville is okay, but you can see that Markham, Vaughan, Richmond Hill, even year over year is doing very badly. Negative 10% in Vaughan, negative 22% in Markham, and negative 30% in Richmond Hill in terms of sales. So that means people are just not very interested in these areas in their condos. So it's down year over year and month over month, like bad market. So just if you're trying to sell here, you may have to lower your price more aggressively to attract attention. And in downtown Toronto, year over year it's actually down 11%. Okay, so month over month is actually up, but year over year it's still down, right? But downtown Toronto, I do see that the value is actually getting better. Like comparing to, average price in downtown is actually the same as Markham now. if you ask me, if I were to spend the same money on the condo, I'd rather buy downtown than Markham, just my personal opinion, right? So that's just on the sales perspective. And if we take a look at the active listings, we can see that year over year, the same place we talk about, Richmond Hill, Markham, Oakville, they have had the highest increase of active listings. So Oakville, we know they had more sales, but higher active listing means there's a lot more sellers. Richmond Hill, Markham, we know that there's less sales year over year. That means, even if sellers are the same, we're just having piled up more listings. So it's actually a bigger problem. Downtown is interestingly, even though sales is down from last year, but sales is up month over month. So that means there's there's actually still more attention in downtown condos. And active listing is actually down the most percentage-wise year over year in downtown Toronto. So you would naturally feel that, hey, there's a bit less competition for the good units in downtown. They're still selling cheap, but they're selling more quickly as a likely result. Okay, so that's an interesting observation. Downtown is actually doing a little bit better. So if you compare the actual month of inventory from between these different areas, you can see that Scarborough, Midtown, like we mentioned, like it has the highest increase on monthly sales. It's actually have the best month of inventory. Okay, so it's actually better market comparing to Vaughan, Oakville, Richmond Hill, Markham. Like these again are the worst and slowest condo market. Okay, from a month of inventory perspective, which is in line with what we saw on a sales perspective. And we can see that downtown Toronto, along with Etobicoke, it's actually not doing the worst. Okay, it's actually kind of above average. Okay, in terms of months of inventories, that means there's actually people recognize there's value in downtown condos, and comparing to like these areas, and because return to work, I might as well be closer to work, right? So downtown is actually condo getting a bit more attention. In fact, I just sold a condo yesterday, only less than 2 weeks on the market. We did the correct preparation for the condo. We did some light upgrades and staging, and it just sold very quickly, given the right pricing strategies, right? So it's actually, you can see the downtown is actually okay. So in terms of liquidity, it's these areas that are suffering the most from the general market. And in terms of price band changes, we can see that compared to last year, we have a lot more condos selling under 500,000. So that shows the price is really down. Like last year, only 15.8% condos were selling below 500,000. Now there's 29%, almost a third of condos are selling under 500,000. Okay, so you can see between 5 to 6, it's still about the same. Okay, so this is the most popular area, but there's a lot more percentage of condos selling under $500,000. So that means there's a lot more of these condos that move down to this range. There's a lot more buyers under 500,000, and there's a lot less transactions. You can see between 6 to 700,000 or 700 to 800,000. That means condos that used to sell between 6 to 800,000 have moved down to 500 to 600,000 range, right? So the whole price level just dropped comparing to last year, which is understandable. And even if we compare it to September, for example, you can see that even October comparing to September, there's still more transactions under 500,000 percentage-wise than September. So price is still dropping. Okay, even as of October, condo price is still dropping compared to September. So it's a problem. So as investors or property owners, we gotta make sure we manage our risk correctly and make sure you're not over leveraging yourself. And given that what's going on in the next year, the general economy, I would say, be braced for a tough market coming up for the next, little while, right? Okay. So in the next video, we're going to talk about freehold market in a similar way to see how different areas are doing comparing to each other. So stay tuned. Until next time. Ciao.